Zoom meeting interview. Today's date is the 20th of April 2021. The time is 2:02 p.m. And today, my name is Lewis Ratchcross, and I am going to be interviewing Piers from the Actors Warehouse organization to help me with my upcoming FMP project. Once again, I would like to thank you, Piers, for allowing me to interview you for my project today.
Of course, of course.
So the first question I would like to ask you is, what is your role within the organization, and what exactly does it do to help up-and-coming actors with it to get into the industry and stuff like that?
Yeah, so my official title within the organization is marketing director. So I look after everything that happens on the social medias, all the giveaways, all that lovely, lovely stuff, all the sort of customer facing sort of stuff. Overall, the company is there to essentially be that helping hand and that sort of comforting arm around the shoulder of actors to help steer you in the right direction. Myself and Georgie, who runs the business with me, we have gone through everything. We've gone through the hurdles. We've tripped over those brick walls, and we've seen actors actually give up because of these same hurdles that they keep tripping up, and it's the same stuff over and over again. So we thought, why not set something up where we know exactly how to help with this sort of thing? Why don't we give back and keep actors going for their passion? And ultimately, that's what we do. We run workshops on sort of the core sort of skills of acting. It's all online, by the way, so COVID doesn't get in the way. And to be honest, I think we're going to carry on doing that for the foreseeable, even when things do open up again. We also offer coaching programs that really take a long personal look and help you on that journey from sort of where you are now as an actor to growing yourself as a personal brand, growing your social media presence, growing your network, and ultimately landing your first role.
Definitely sounds interesting. That's good. So do you basically not only just help them to perform like stuff like not only for screen, but also like to improve their skills for like the stage and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So we mainly do focus on screen just because that is the most readily available work for actors to get when they do break out into the industry. However, a lot of our clients do have a musical theatre background. So we do spend a lot of time looking at stage technique as well. One of the biggest things that we do is also take a dive at the industry side of the industry, the sort of business side of it, and alongside building up your skills as an actor, we also help you understand what's going on in these rooms where deals are signed and that sort of thing, so that you're fully equipped and there's going to be no hurdles in your journey.
Fair enough. Okay. So, do you definitely, for people that like to do like directly dressed kind of performances on stage and on screen, like how exactly can they try to make sure to develop those skills? Like, what's the big difference between them besides like talking directly to the camera and talking directly into a live actual audience?
Yeah,
really.
yeah. So I'd say that the big differences between stage and screen, apart from the fact that typically there's no live audience there when you're acting for screen, is that with theatre, it's kind of unnatural in whatever you're sort of doing. So you always have the audience in mind, and you're always playing to an audience, which can be great. Like there is a buzz. You do get that energy coming from the audience, and honestly, it's a lot of fun because it is live and things can go wrong, and it's then your job to sort of pick it up and work together as a team. And honestly, the team spirit is just phenomenal when it comes to stage. The same for team spirit can be said for film as well. I personally find film and TV a lot more chilled out, and you can explore a bit more with your character and your production because there are a lot of time constraints, but you're not just constrained to that sort of one performance each night sort of thing. So when you're physically acting on screen, while in the back of your head, you're always going to know where the camera is, and you may angle yourself on sight lines and stuff to play to the camera ever so slightly. It's a lot more realistic. It's on stage, if you're having a conversation with another character, you could be standing next to each other, but your bodies are still faced towards the audience, and you're projecting and all that sort of thing. Whereas screen, you'd be straight on, having a conversation just like you would in real life. So a lot of actors do find that when they make it into screen, it is a lot more like acting, because it's so real and you are reacting exactly how that character would react.
Fair enough, fair enough. That definitely sounds interesting. So do you definitely feel like, also, do you feel, is there like a specific way that actors themselves can actually make an audience feel engaged really? Like obviously, like mainly on screen is basically about vocal expressions, but is there a specific way that they can do it on screen specifically?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, as you say, on stage, it's all about the way you're acting in that live moment. But on screen, it can be those subtle things that you add to the character, like a slight look, or a sort of twitch, or a trait that they have that you add into it, that makes them likable, that makes them lovable. A great example is James Bond. Actually, Daniel Craig has a really good habit of doing these sort of facial, not necessarily twitches, but he does these same sort of facial movements every now and then. They're very, very subtle, but it's little things like that that draw the audience in, and work so well for screen. And as you said, for stage, it's all about reacting in the moment. If you see an opportunity, taking it, and again, playing around with the voice, the facial expressions, and the sort of reaction times as well.
Yeah, that definitely sounds good. So, how do so if an actor is trying to do like looking directly at the camera, how does he try to stay focused within it? So that way, if he's saying something like quite a few long times, is that like try to keep within the zone of it?
Oh, it's a challenge. You spend all your time acting for screen, trying to ignore the camera, but then when you do have to look into it, and you're trying to stay in the zone, it can be really, really difficult. Um, but just taking that time to really get into character, spend it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing, just spend a good 15 minutes, half an hour if you need to, just getting in the zone, really connecting with that character that you're playing, and then honestly, you'll be able to do almost anything. It's tough. It is tough when you're so used to ignoring it, to then going to physically directly acting to the camera. But over time, it becomes a lot more natural, and you can adapt.
That definitely sounds good. That's
Mm.
very interesting. All right, and sorry, let me just- and can is there a way that actors can demonstrate like basically different characters that they're playing? Like if the character is some ways going to be playing like someone's personality, is there a way that you can demonstrate like each of the personalities that the character has?
Yeah, yeah. So a big thing about being an actor is taking a dive into the backstory, of that character that you're playing. So for example, a really good example would be Heath Ledger in Batman when he was the Joker. He added a character trait that was he licked his lips a lot, and the reason for that was because he found out that dry mouth is a side effect of antipsychotics. And so little that is a really good example, but little things like that. So for example, say if somebody lives in a cold country, they might be a little bit stiff when they're walking, or just really take a deep dive into the character's backstory. Even if there isn't necessarily one there set in stone, coming up with your own little things that make that character who they are. And to be completely honest, getting the personality across is probably the most important thing. Anyone can deliver those lines. It's all about the subtext, and what you can actually bring, how you can bring that character to life, and a lot of that is through that sort of backstory, those character traits that you've come up with, and they really, really help in getting that personality of the character across.
That definitely sounds interesting. That's very good. And is there is there like a can you also try to make sure that if you do like your accents different, can that actually help and maybe do your posture up and down so that could that actually help demonstrate the different personalities as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. Posture plays a huge part on the actual character traits. Uh, your posture affects your whole body. It affects your breathing, it affects your vocal process. So that is actually a really common way to influence a character and bring them to life. In terms of accents, again, brings a character to life. Typically, you will know the type of accent that your character has. However, there has been times in the past where directors have sort of said, "Can we try this?" Or an actor has said, "I feel like he's not from this area. He's from this area." So trying another accent really, really can again bring a character to life.
Okay, I'll definitely try that. Now, you've obviously mentioned that you are a marketing director. So I'm just basically wondering, could you like further elaborate on that? Like how exactly what is a marketing director role does? Like does he figure out like the target audience for like a certain project or something like that?
Yeah, so a marketing director literally takes care of all of the sort of advertising, the image, the brand association with a company. In our instance, anyway. So everything you see on social media has gone through sort of my eyes and has been uploaded and it's been planned and all the branding, all the website, everything that's visual and front on in the company goes through my eyes. In terms of when we do productions, I take a bit of a sort of producer role, and the marketing does come into that a little bit because if we're casting for a new project, we always look at sort of the actor as a personal brand as well, and treat it very much like a sort of business transaction. Um, so there is that sort of side to it as well. But typically speaking, day to day, it is looking after the social media, the website, the emails, anything that you see that's really communicated from us goes through my eyes.
Okay, that sounds good. So basically, if so, so basically, when you're actually working on a project as a marketing manager, do you help just make sure that the actual subtext and the actual the way it's presented is matched within that estimated target audience, really?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about getting our story across, making sure that people aren't going to be confused when they read something, and it's going to be nice and clear, and ultimately give value to the person who's seeing it, and making sure that the content aligns to our sort of brand beliefs as well.
That sounds good.
Mm.
Anyways, so if someone was to create a split personality portrayal for their own product, how exactly would they demonstrate it for the like target audience between teenagers and children between the ages of 12 years old to 17 years old?
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So split personality. So is that the same character but just has two personalities, and that's the main role in the project?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So what you could do is obviously use the same actor for sort of both personalities, and what you could do is you could either go down the route of filming all of the one side of the personality part of the film first, and then the other side. So say let's just say there's a nice side and a bad side to this person. You could film all of the nice stuff first, let them refresh a little bit, get into character, do the bad side, and then spice them all together. Alternatively, you could just do it back to back. Honestly, if the actor is up to it, it can save you a lot of time to do that. It is going to be quite tedious and stressful on the actor, so it could be worth filming it separately. Um, but if you wanted to demonstrate a really clear difference in that sort of split personality, what you could do is you could make the scene feel different when they're one personality or the other. So, for example, a nice personality might have a slightly brighter scene. You know, the weather might be slightly nicer. They may have brighter colours in the scene, and then let's say there's a bad side to that character. In those scenes, you know, it might be cloudy, dull, dismal. There'll be duller colours, and that is a really good way to sort of balance those two sides of things.
Okay, so you definitely suggest like if the split personalities are like speaking to each other in a multiple way, like one side should definitely be on have a lighter side to it, but the other side should have a darker side to it. Like it's help the difference between the two.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if it's, you know, it doesn't have to be really obvious. But what you could do is you depends on how you sort of make your actors up. You know, the duller person could wear duller clothes, have a little bit of makeup on that sort of drowns them out a little bit, makes them seem more tired, more aggressive, well, not necessarily aggressive, but just sort of beaten up on the inside. And again, it goes down to the actor to really bring that character to life and think of what the personality traits would be of that personality and this personality, and making a clear difference between the two.
Fair enough, fair enough. I'll make sure to use that in my project. Okay.
Awesome.
And so if what I got a couple more questions, but I just want to double check if, like, for one of the scenes that if it's actually supposed to take place in the mindset of the main character and actually see the split two split personalities face to face. Is there can you do that? Could I possibly make it look like the environment's a bit dark just to show like it's a bit disoriented and how the darkest personality is trying to take over?
Yeah, that actually sounds really cool. It sounds like you're working on a really cool project there. So yes, changing the environment is going to be a go-to. You when you're filming it, you could so let's say we're in the nice side's world, but the bad side is trying to take over. What you could do is you could have that same environment that we're used to seeing the nice character in, but all of a sudden, you know, it is, you know, it's slightly duller. There's less color in it, and then there's little tiny, like there's aspects of that bad environment coming into it, so that you get that sort of sense of it taking over. And then depending on how far you want to go with it, you know, it could completely shift to the bad side. And again, if you wanted to draw it back, little elements, like, so let's say the bad's taken over and the light is going to start fighting back, little elements of that color, the sort of environment that we're used to seeing with the nice person start to coming back until we hit where we were originally. Now, depending on sort of what your sort of budget or crew are like, you could go full out with this, and you know, you could change the weather in the sky. You know, you honestly, you could go absolutely mad. But if you're just doing a sort of smaller project, then it could be something as simple as when you're editing it, just dulling the color ever so slightly, just to add that aspect of something is happening. Even plants, if you're able to droop some plants or something, or just make it feel a little bit more dingy and dreary. If you think of it as the nice side would be bright summer day, and the bad side would be cold winter. There's no sun in the sky, and then that's sort of the sort of environments that you'd be dealing with there.
Okay, okay, that definitely sounds very useful.
Mm.
So, uh, I think that's all the questions I got. One quick minor question is that if the split person, now, do you think it's much more interesting that both split personalities by the end of it do have a compromise, so that way they both try to actually figure out a way in order for one of them to still be, in order for them to actually take hold of the actual body, so that way it actually gives it a more satisfying conclusion if we turn out that we give a reason why the dark person wants to take over the body.
Yeah, I mean that can really, if you do give that reason towards the end, then your dark personality becomes a lot more relatable, and it's almost more forgiving and understanding towards that sort of bad side of that person. So that could be a really, really interesting way to go, if you did want to leave it so that both the characters still had something to do with it, but we just understood it more. That could be really, really powerful.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and yeah, that's just about all the questions I wanted to ask. Just want a quick minor note. For the actual Actors Warehouse organization, would you like to mention where you could find them?
Yeah, so we're on Instagram. That's literally where we do all of our stuff, all of our business, and it's literally just at Actors Warehouse. You can also find us on www.actorswarehouse.co.uk.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for doing this interview with me today. This has been very helpful.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.